I'm sorry.
I heard some interesting books from Prague have arrived at the castle. There's one I'd like to borrow. An alchemist's cookbook. A sand-coloured cover, embossed.
Yes, several rare and astonishing books have arrived from Prague. But why are you interested in an alchemist's cookbook, of all things?
I've heard there are some interesting ideas in it. Every alchemist is in dogged pursuit of wisdom, especially those from Prague.
Perhaps you know more about that book than I do. Well, I'll have to disappoint you. Lord Nickvard Libak helped me sort the new books at the time, and the one you're looking for caught his attention. He left with it before I could even discover what it's about. All I remember is the author's initials, B.B. I'm fairly benevolent when it comes to lending books, and I appreciate Nickvard's help, but he's had it borrowed for an excessive amount of time now. I'd like to ask him to return it, but he's been avoiding me.
I'll have a talk with Nickvard and find out what the problem is.
You think I haven't tried? But since you've already offered to address this pressing situation, listen to what I've learned. It seems Nickvard lost the book. I've warned him repeatedly not to carry borrowed books around with him, but to leave them in his chamber and read them there. But Nickvard is old and stubborn, and this is how things turn out.
The price of such a book must be incalculable. People like Nickvard are too dumb to understand.
But I digress. As I said, Nickvard is intentionally avoiding me. But I've made headway. I've managed to find 3 people who've spoken to him recently. Bertha, the cook, Regina, the maid, and Hirsch, the hand.
I reckon those aren't the only 3 people that know him.
I'm surprised that he's ever spoken to anyone but myself. Nickvard is a loner, which is also why I suspect something bad has happened. Now that he's decided to leave his shell, that is. But I'm afraid that's all I've managed to find out. Since Lord von Berkov's arrival, I've been preoccupied with other matters.
I'll help you. I'll ask all 3 and see if they lead me to Nickvard.
Many thanks. If you aren't sure what to do, stop by and we'll discuss what you found out.
Before I go, can you tell me where I can find those people in the castle?
Who, exactly?
You said Nickvard is avoiding you. Where at the castle does he live? Are there any places he frequents?
Nickvard lives like a hermit here at Trotsky. Like a ghost. His chambers are in the Crone's Tower. But God knows if he's ever slept there. He took his meals down in the Crone's kitchen. Lately, I've often seen him talking to Regina in the Knight's Hall, in the Maiden, or looking out the hall window. I caught sight of him a few times with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle.
So I just have to hope I run into him somewhere.
Nickvard always just shows up. I've rarely ever found him on my own. I'm not surprised you can't find him anywhere, since I've been trying myself.
Where is Bertha?
Bertha cooks for us in the Crone's kitchen. She's there most days. If you can't find her there, try the first house in the lower castle, across from the door to the dungeon.
Where is Regina?
As Lord von Berkoff's personal maid, she'll likely be somewhere in the Maiden's Palace, perhaps in the Knight's Hall, or on the floor above it, near the Lord's chambers. She even sleeps there.
Where is Hirsch, the stable boy?
I've seen him with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle. He sleeps in the house directly across from it. I don't know him much, though.
That's everything I needed to know.
God in heaven, you're seeing this. Good day to you. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I'm looking for Nightred. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Well, I'm waiting for Lord Libac to stop by. I brewed him another phial of medicine, but I don't even know if the last one helped. I told him to stop by for another one soon. I reckon he must be feeling better.
Did he say where he was headed?
I can't say. I promised Lord Libac his secret is safe with me, as well as his phial of medicine.
Oh, come now. Nightred misplaced an important book somewhere. A sort of alchemist cookbook. I need to find it.
I remember the recipes by heart. And Lord Libac's secret is certainly worth more than any book.
Well, if a nobleman's secret is worth so much, how about this? That'll buy you more than one book.
I suppose Lord Libac wouldn't mind. And do you have the exact amount?
Of course.
So many groschen. I promise I'll split it with Lord Libac when I see him, and I'll explain everything.
But now tell me, what's the medicine for?
Well, it's a common potion for a bellyache. Just better tasting. It helps your meals go down easier and come out slower the other end. In that regard, Lord Libac had, well, how to say it? Everything came out much too quickly.
Nightred didn't have time to run down the stairs, eh?
It was in the privy down below the crone, by the training ground below the guardhouse. I helped him clean his hose and made him the medicine, and I promised that I wouldn't say anything. Lord Libac is quite particular about the impression he makes on the young maids, you know. He didn't want this little episode to put them off. That's why he didn't use the privy near the maids' quarters, though it's closer to his chamber, but to the arena instead, and only when there weren't any soldiers around. But this time, it caught up with him.
Is that all?
What else is there to say? That the entire time he looked as if he'd done the worst thing in the world. It happens to the best of us, and I told him as much then. I'm just surprised he never came back for another phial. I must say, he did look as if the fate of the entire castle was suddenly on his shoulders.
I don't know if this is going to do me any good.
Well, you could have found a worse clue.
Thanks anyway.
That's nice now.
Welcome, sir. What can I do for you?
Do you know where I can find Nickford? The scribe said you might know.
Erazim is suddenly interested in Nickvard and me. You don't say. But when I need him to read something for me, he never has the time. I'm sorry.
I was asking about Nickford.
Aye, I heard you. Say, can you read?
I can.
In that case, would you mind reading this message I have from Nickvard?
Show me. Dear Mistress of the Chambers. What is it?
Oh, what I wouldn't give to get messages from someone else. Say, Lord Capen. Never mind. Read on. Though I reckon it interests you more than me.
Persevere. We shall soon escape the dungeon of those two women. Cursed fate, however, has placed an obstacle in my way. The heat of the Lightbringer's potion is working, and I can feel my insides being reborn. But when the last remnants of old age left my body, something else was washed away with them.
How much longer is it?
Not much. My damn clumsiness has sent all of the Lightbringer's secrets into the void, but fear not, I shall get them back. May this be the first task on the road to your liberation. That's it.
Beautiful.
True enough. Nickford has a flair for the dramatic.
My, that's Liebach for you.
But what does it mean? Can you explain any of it to me?
Lord Liebach has taken a liking to me. I suggested to him it wasn't proper for a noble to have an affair with a maid. He thought I meant he was too old for me. But then he found what he calls the Lightbringer's Potion Book. He said it would light a flame in him that would burn out all that's old. So I suppose it worked. Hooray!
I know the book he's talking about, but what does he mean, into the void?
Look, can we stop talking about this? I feel a little uncomfortable here talking about some old lovelorn nobleman.
I need help. You can give it some thought, can't you?
No! And now leave me alone.
What do we have here?
It happens. Just watch where you're going next time.
Good day to you.
I'm looking for Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Hey, Nick. I mean, Lord Libac. I almost forgot about him. I suppose his task wasn't so pressing, hmm?
What do you mean, forgot?
Nick Libac, that is, entrusted me with a big task quite a while back. He's a castle lord. Obviously, I had to obey him. But then I heard what another castle lord was planning, von Berghoff, and I had to obey him even more. He says there's a war on. So here I am, ready to go off to battle.
I need to know more about what Nickvard asked you to do.
No. There are new rules now. You have to prove you're not a spy.
What are you blathering about?
Von Berghoff said there's a war on, right now. I told him, watch out for spies, Sir Otto. But fear not, I know how to sniff them out. You're a spy yourself, ain't you?
I'm not.
Ha! That's exactly what a spy would say. That's why you have to be vetted, to see if you're really on our side. The side that Nickvard's on, just so you know. We're all friends here. You can join us.
I'd like to.
Hold your horses. First a test.
Tell me what you want from me, then.
A sword.
Sword? What sword?
A long and very good one to help me deal with other spies. If you bring it to me, I'll know you're not an enemy spy who should fear me. Forge one, buy one, or even steal one for me. Maybe from one of the guards at the training ground or down by the gate. During the day, they're not in the towers anyway.
Steal a sword? That sounds like something a spy would do.
Not a spy who wants to help von Berghoff's most loyal servant. By servant, I mean me. See, once I get a sword, I'll fill you in on Nickvard's task.
You wanted a sword? So look at what I got for you.
I don't want an invisible sword. Them are spy swords. Suspicious.
Listen, Hirsch.
Don't try any word games on me. Persuasion, threats. I know about them spy tricks. Deeds talk louder than words. For example, like bringing me a sword.
I'll think of a way to convince you.
I'm always glad to see polite people like you. God be with you.
Huh? Was that you? Oh, never mind then.
All right.
And that pissed him off, and he wants his revenge.
God be with you.
Complained to the bailiff.
Keep the peace.
Saying the
and we'll
oak's
stay
dangerous and has to go.
Cheers.
Christ.
I hope
There'll
you
be
have an
nothing
uneventful
nice left
shift.
here at this rate. Don't worry.
About Nickford.
Got that sword yet, spy?
You wanted a sword? So look at what I got for you.
That's perfect. Lovely. I don't think you're a spy. Can't say for sure, but you seem all right.
What about Nickford then?
Nickvard asked me to do something for him. He must have admired my devotion to Lord von Berghoff. Either way, Nick looked troubled and not very healthy. He wanted me to fetch him something he lost outside the castle, and I told him I would. At least I could check to see if anyone was sneaking around about the castle. But then Nickvard clutched his belly and ran off. So I never found out what he wanted, or from where.
That's all?
Aye. If you run into Nickvard, ask him if he still needs it or whether he found it himself. I'll be going into war soon, so I don't have time for these things, see?
I'll tell him.
Did you hear about what happened at the big wheel?
At the mill?
Yeah, the place by the Jehorovka Street.
What then?
Has the water sprite been up to his mischief again?
You could say that. They found a dead body stuck in the wheel.
Christ. It has to be me standing over the body. What a fucking day.
You must be Nickford, eh?
Ugh, it's starting to...
Poor wretch.
Another senseless death.
Sand-coloured cover, embossed. That'll be the book Crazel wants, but it's quite ordinary.
It has to be me
Probably
standing
covered
over the
in
body.
shit.
What a fucking day. Ugh.
I have the book for you.
Well, I must admit, I haven't had an apprentice this handy in a long time. Zinnik has nothing on you.
I didn't even look inside.
You had a treasure like this in your hands, and you weren't even curious to have a peek? Well, I suppose it's not for everyone. I'll have a look for myself. This really is something. But why is it all covered in shit, for fuck's sake?
Let's just say the scribe didn't have it. It actually wasn't even in the castle. Under it, really.
Oh, refining saltpeter. Boil wine and alum. Grind. Ah, of course, it makes sense. I'll study the rest on the way. Well, the last chapter of our story of knowledge awaits us. The grand finale.
So what now? Do you have another job for me?
Charcoal. Sulfur from Hermes Trismegistos. Saltpeter from the carcass pit. As long as Black Bertolt didn't make any mistakes in his calculations, we have everything.
What Bertolt? Oh, God damn it, Crazer, what's going on here? I'm tired of flying back and forth like a rag on a stick. I won't be led around by the nose. Will you finally tell me what's going on?
Believe it or not, all this secrecy had its reasons. But now I don't have to hide anything from you. It's time. We'll meet with the others in the lair, and there you'll learn the whole truth. You go ahead. I'm going to get a few things ready here.
All right, then. I hope you keep your word this time. Whoa! 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 Die! What'll happen now?
Our last supper, with only one but very filling course, awaits us.
Crazel, please. For once, just once, tell me what's actually going on.
And rob myself of enjoying your blissful ignorance? Not a chance. Tell me yourself, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, hopefully I'll finally find out what the point of all this was.
Or not, until you try another dose of niter.
I wouldn't do that to him. Not today. Bonnie will start today. At least I'll finally see if she understood my teachings. Bonnie?
First of all, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the whole gang for all the work you've done. We could never have finished the job without you. We found 2 new partners, you and Monarch here. It's good to have someone to rely on. So, it's time we started being honest with you, so you can finally learn the whole truth.
Not yet. Let's pull up that uppity bastard's leg a bit longer. That's the fun part!
No, Z-Neck. First of all, I'd rather like them legs of his. And secondly, I think we've put him through enough suffering. This whole time, you've been collecting ingredients and clues for us. But, so you wouldn't go nosing around, we always told you it was for something different than it actually was.
The miller here calls it tackets.
Tactics, you idiot. And everything worked out according to plan. So today we're finally close to our great success. With the help of Hermes Trismegistos and his successors, we'll finally complete the dream of all alchemists. Our magnum opus.
Exactly, Bonnie.
Magnum opus. A great work of alchemy. You're trying to make the Philosopher's Stone.
I see you've learned something after all. But no, the Philosopher's Stone isn't our goal.
Let's see then, Henry. What is it you think we're making here?
Some kind of weapon?
Well, Henry's not too far from the truth after all, don't you think? Actually, he's pretty spot on. Although weapons were our last order of business. Let's start at the beginning. My father was a miller as well, but I was never much interested in the trade. Even as a young boy, I loved running around Lower Samine and investigating everything living and dead. And I had a lot of questions about everything. Then my mother, God rest her soul, decided it'd be best for me to go to study in Prague. As soon as I grew up and gained a bit of sense, I packed my bags and left.
So you went to a university in Prague? The son of a miller?
Why not? My father worked his arse off, and he had the coin for it, miller or not. I met a lot of remarkable people at the university, and my thirst for knowledge kept growing. But in the end, it only took a year of all that pretentious, scholarly blathering and hypocritical nonsense for me to realize I wouldn't learn anything proper there. Most of the students and masters are just a bunch of dogmatic fools. They have their own truth, and those who want to know more or ask the wrong questions fall into disfavor, as was my case.
And what about your thirst for knowledge?
I realized I didn't need the university for things that are truly important. The most important science is not subject to any religious dogma. And, of course, it's not taught at any university. The art of combination and dissolution, the key to understanding the very nature of the world. There's only one queen of science, alchemy. I returned to the mill in Lower Samine and started a new life.
Keep it short, Crazel. I just want to know what it is you're doing here. I don't need to know your life story.
You're the one always asking questions. But fine, straight to the point. Once I tried mixing sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. I had a candle burning next to me. A gust of wind scattered the mixture, and all of a sudden, bang! I almost shit myself, I tell you. But then I realized I'd unwittingly created a miracle. Explosive black powder.
So I was right. You're making weapons.
No, it's about much more than that. We're all in on it now.
I couldn't continue my experiments on my own, but Bonnie and Zinnik did a few little jobs for me.
So he initiated us.
But we just still didn't know how to do it right and not blow ourselves up in the process.
And we used up a huge amount of saltpeter and sulfur.
By the way, the manuscript from that Hermes Trismegistos was our shopping list and price list for material from Kuttenberg.
Only we didn't know correct proportions. I looked up a few of my former fellow students and brought it up with them. And we found out that before us, some monk had already made the discovery.
Some fella called Black Bertold, and that he even started writing a book called
Feuerwerkbuch.
We can believe our luck when we found out there's a copy of it right here at Trotsky.
And you know the rest.
It's a discovery that will change history. In the right hands, it can make miracles happen. All it takes is a spark, and a storm of fire will sweep away the old world order. It will wipe out stupidity and ignorance, once and for all.
And what will happen now?
As I said, we're about to have our last supper on our journey to satisfy our hunger for knowledge. A feast of smoke and fire. Black Bertold never finished his book, because he never had enough ingredients for his last great experiment. But now, thanks to you, we do. We can finally finish Bertold's work and finish his book. We'll see with our own eyes what a barrel of black powder can do. I hope you're as excited as I am.
I've heard enough. Now I want to see that with my own eyes.
Let's do it then. Bonnie, is everything ready?
Indeed it is. We can get started. Long live the beautiful new world.
Looks like it ain't working.
I'd say it works just fine.
This will change history.
What? I can't hear a thing. But I'd say it works just fine.
As long as you listen to me and keep the proportions right, you won't fuck it up.
No splinters, white ash,